All right. Hello.
Hello, we're here again.
We here.
It's just us. Just us. All right. So this is the list that I put together for yesterday's video, but that we did with Eva, and we didn't get to my list at all. Now I found out why, but that was interesting.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead, and now when I checked in to do this, make a list for this video, my council was not in session. Well, they were there, but they weren't in session. They were said, we gave you the list. So this is the list. The first one is, imagine going back to when you were 16 with what you know now. Well, that's kind of what's going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Is you're, for each individual it's going to be different, but basically it's, you're going to be able to not necessarily live the life you lived before, but you, it'll be like that. It'll be like what you know now, you go back, or you as if you went back in a younger, more youthful, more healthy body and whatnot. And but this time without all the restrictions and whatnot. And so what do you do with it now that all the doors are flung open and whatnot? Some people will still, they'll take a longer to acclimate and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Other people will be ready to throw the doors wide open and just start, living in trees or living in our ships. We're the houses that are built into the earth.
Yeah, they're nice.
So I'm just, imagine that and conjure up that energy, because that will do you well as a kind of a starting place.
Yeah, the feeling I have as you say that is like, it's almost like instead of having the 80, 75, 80, 90-year lifespan that we feel right now, it extends so far that it's like we're 16, because our life could be so much longer. And so because we shape,
if you don't open your mind to it, then you're going to start like sunsetting yourself.
Right, which is what we do now because of a limited life, what we perceive to be limited life. And so if you imagine that you can live for however long, or you don't know how long, and you live like you can live forever, and not sunset yourself, then that's the feeling I had when you said that. Yeah.
So, we can share ideas and whatnot, but what you choose to do is going to be up to you, and how it unfolds will and what it looks like and smells like, and what it sounds like. We've had this discussion before about how do we know that I'm not speaking Russian
and I'm hearing it in English,
and you're hearing it in English, and you're speaking English and I'm hearing it in Russian? How do we know that's not happening right now?
Right.
Well, take that and do that with what you see and hear. So we've talked about, you're at a mountain lake and you're relaxing and whatnot, and I'm at a beach, and I say, hey, can you give me another beer? And you pass it off to me, but
we're sitting in the same spot.
We're sitting in the same spot,
but I see
you see,
or mountain lake, and
I see a beach.
Yeah.
So I see that. I saw that.
It's kind of like virtual reality, right? So
I've
got my glasses on and I'm seeing a scene.
Yeah, but there are no glasses.
No,
this is all done through your own manifestation.
But it's like that. It's that way. Yeah. We're seeing through these lenses, not,
Well, I mean, I think enough people have talked about what they call ascension symptoms. I've kind of pushed back against the whole
Mm,
ascension thing or whatnot. I just call it enlightenment.
mhm. An
That's
awakening
what it
or
is to me. Is it's an enlightenment about who you really are, what your capabilities are,
mhm,
um, what you really came here to do, what
mhm,
life is really about, not what you were born into and led to believe.
mhm.
So all that to me is just enlightenment. So I'm sticking with that.
Yeah. I like I feel the resonance of remembering. So it's like you're remembering your soul and your body, you're remembering what you're supposed to, what you came into this life for. Yeah.
Uh,
More so than an ascension, like a elevation type thing, which is what ascension sometimes can
yeah,
have a feeling of,
but
but
that's only because we're still
just,
stuck in 3D,
yeah.
3D, 4D, and we're putting these definitions on it. As our telepathic abilities start to come online, um, though the actual words we say won't be so important.
Hmm.
It'll We'll be passing messages that are impressions, feelings, things of that nature. So
Hmm.
um, it'll get truer. It'll Communication will move from the mind of words to the heart of words.
Hmm.
So I think it's just a
Yeah.
matter of time. I think we're already moving in that direction now. We're in communication
Hmm.
um, is being attacked.
Hmm.
Um, the whole PC culture and everything, uh, how people act, what they talk about, what words you use. I mean,
Hmm.
like, who gives someone the right to tell me how I can word what comes to my mind?
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Right.
I mean, I guess for some of us, it's confusing enough that I don't know where my ideas come from and I don't know where my thoughts come from. But now they come in and I start talking, and then someone's going to tell me, "Oh, you can't use those words."
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not there. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, because actually, I mean, what you're talking about with seeing different images, we hear different things. We can say the word, but I'm saying the word with a certain meaning, and you can receive the word with what, you change how you receive the word and vice versa. So, based on what we are and how clear we are. So, you could say something very constructive or even kind to me, but if I'm not in the right place inside, I'm going to hear it differently. And that's what's happening right now in the world.
Right. So
Yeah.
we're going to cut out the middleman,
Mhm.
and which is the limitation of spoken word.
Mhm.
It's very Spoken word is very powerful when it's put together with intent and without the limitations that come from the
Mhm.
system telling you you're not good enough, and so
Mhm.
it inflicts on you thoughts of inadequacy or jealousy or whatever, and then
Mhm.
that affects your vocabulary. But stripping that away, you get to cleaner vocabulary. But the true intent is to speak your feelings, to
Mhm.
basically convey a feeling. So we're going to get to that where the words are going to start getting closer to the heart, and then start to move away from the spoken word and get into just conveying telepathic messages that are really just impressions, I mean,
Mhm.
or feelings. And so that's stripping out that middleman and going right to what you really mean. That way, the person you're talking to completely understands, because it's almost like they're dipping their finger kind of in your emotional
Mhm.
um, bubble, and being able to get it straight from you.
Yeah, it's interesting as I'm sitting here with this because it feels like we focus so much on the actual word we say and not the frequency that we
Mhm.
say, like the tone, the volume, the pace, that's all frequency. And so we focus on the technicality of the word. And in the future, I think it's going to be, we may make sounds But sounds carry a frequency. It's not so much the actual words. I mean, you watch babies that communicate with each other, and they don't talk, but they can jabber, 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 and it's like they know what each other's saying, and there's no words in there. So because the ego latches on to the word, and the ego and the mind interprets the word based on what you think, and you know, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to transcend the actual technical word, but the
Yeah.
frequency is important.
Well, I think a lot of things are hijacked
Mhm.
through the system. Um, in the past, they've been, you say something, and somewhere along the medium, to me, it gets hijacked. Either, well, it doesn't matter who.
Right.
If it's hijacked, it's not conveying what you really meant.
Hmm.
So I think we're going to get back to what we really
Hmm.
mean. So,
Yeah, some of the tools I'll be talking about in some of the other videos are getting, light language and some sound healing and things like that. That's all to get past those spoken words, because that it's frequency. Yeah, getting to the frequency.
yeah. The next one is you brought it all with you.
Mm.
So in this 3D, 4D world, there's nothing you actually physically need. You may think you need water and food and all this other stuff, and you still do right now. But in all honesty, the form you originally came here, you didn't need all that.
Mm.
It's only through the system that it convinced you to play the game by these sets of rules that you need this and you need this and
Mm.
you need this, you need security, you
Mm.
need an education, you need this. And so we bought into it and we kept playing the game.
Mm.
But in all honesty, you have everything you need inside you. You don't need anything. You may want stuff,
Mhm.
but you don't need anything. But
Yeah.
the system, as long as we believe that we need water and that we need food and that we need security and a home and all that, then your higher self is going to abide by that.
Mhm.
It's going to say, okay, we
Mhm.
can do that. You're just manifesting it.
Mhm. Yep.
But there's I think there's already probably people that are breaking that mold,
Mhm.
improving. They're eating less and they're drinking less water. Um, and can't explain it. I mean, my situation, perfect example.
Mhm.
I mean, we already said I'm not eating enough calories to maintain the body weight I have,
Mhm.
but I'm drinking more water. I am drinking more water, but
Yeah. There's actually people out there, they call them breatharians, and that's what don't eat or drink for long periods of time. Some of them have gone a very long time. Um, and you can find out about it. You can actually watch some of them talk about it. I mean, there are people out there that are changing it, changing the way they. But you have to believe it. I mean, if
you
I
have
did.
to want to believe, and then you have to believe.
Right, because if I didn't believe that I didn't need water and I stopped drinking water, it would have a detrimental effect on
Yeah,
me, because
exactly.
I
Because
still
you
believed
believe,
I needed it.
because
Yeah,
you still believe that if you didn't drink water,
I'd be in trouble.
that
Yeah.
you get dehydrated, and then it
Mhm.
will cause these problems.
Yeah.
So until
So
we
it's
can pull those back and start going, yeah. Now, I don't think I'm, I think I'll speak for myself. I don't think I'm going to sit there and just start stripping all this down and
mm,
get rid of it all. I think I'm going to start. I'm already doing it, poking in and saying, let's see what happens with this. I'm going to open
mhm,
my mind to it and whatnot. And so I've already started
mhm,
with the food,
yeah.
but I think there's going to be other stuff um, that we just start. We always thought we needed.
Mhm. Well, we always think that everything we need goes in here, and our skin absorbs stuff. I mean, I kind of thought there'd be a day where we'd walk across the earth and we get the minerals we need, and you just get it from the environment and not have to, digest it through the mouth and through the gut. And that some of that happens with essential oils and other things topically that you can. It's much more effective than ingesting it. So there's a whole bunch of things about that
Yeah, and
we.
how that develops for you
Mhm.
or anyone is going to be up to you. No one's going to tell you
Mm-mm.
how to do it or why to do it or when to do it or whatnot. It's basically you just peeling back the layers until you start realizing, oh wow, I do have more control over my external
Mhm.
than I thought.
Yeah.
But until we start believing, we're going to continue to play kind of the momentum of the old game, even
Mhm.
though the controllers of the old game are either pretty much gone or they're going.
Y
There's stuff going on right now
mm,
that's taking some out.
yeah.
So
Well, we have a the way our the way we work, we put doubt in each other. I mean, right now, it's like if you all of a sudden believed that you didn't need all of this, but you're around other people who keep telling you, yeah, you really should. Yo, yeah, here's all this information. You start to doubt, and that doubt is not,
well,
that's detrimental to you. So the
and those are
system is set
those
up
are
to,
all
yeah,
external things.
exactly.
So
They're all
it
set
all
up to,
boils down to what do you believe?
yeah,
It doesn't matter if your mother pushed it on you
right.
or your best friend from childhood pushed it on you
Mm-hmm.
and made you believe it or not believe something.
Mm-hmm.
It's still what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why sovereignty is so important.
Yep.
It's
Exactly.
you could still be friends with people, but you're not so attached to them that they're going to affect who you are.
Right. Their
They're going to
opinion.
accept you for who you are,
Hmm.
not hey, my impact on you.
Yeah, or you're weird. Oh my gosh, you can't,
Well, I am weird.
The other thing I thought that brought up for me is you brought it with you is the whole, we tend to look outside of ourselves to other people, to things to fulfill something inside of us, when it's the fact that we're not focused on the inside of us that makes us feel like we need something to fulfill inside of us.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, because the outside is not what we
mm-mm,
believe it is, um, and a lot of it is symbolic of what's going on inside us.
mm-hmm,
So once we learn to reconcile that, we'll start to unlock our true potential. But
mm-hmm,
until then, we're still kind of the good thing is a lot of the restrictions have been starting to deteriorate. So
mm-hmm,
that's why a lot more things are hitting the airwaves through whatever means.
mm-hmm.
And people are starting to go, wow, I mean, they're putting out all kinds of, I can't even keep up with all the news
Mm.
stories on space.
Mhm. Yeah, I know.
All
Well,
the
now we have the Space Command and
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, somebody's trying to get a jump on you know things going on out in space,
Mhm.
but it's really they're just trying to affect what you believe in.
Yeah.
So consider that. I mean, how your what your reality looks like is going to depend on what you believe, and that's
Mm,
why they put a lot of these things out to see if you'll bite, if
mhm,
you'll go into it, because then it'll affect your reality. And they do it because they've already constructed something surrounding that reality that it's like them inviting you into their little playground and say,
mhm,
well, you've got to abide by our
mhm,
rules for the playground.
mhm. Are you gonna come play?
Yeah.
Give us permission. Mm.
The next one is if you want to dance between the raindrops, you can, but some people like to get wet.
Mm,
So this is kind of a continuation.
mhm,
Um, there are people now that if they had the choice, like if they really truly had the choice and they knew it, and they could walk outside during a rainstorm and not get wet and dance and be
mhm,
walk between the raindrops, they would do it. They would say, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll go
mhm,
do it." But there's other people who say, "No, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough," or "I don't, I don't, I don't want to do that. I want to pay for going outside when it's wet."
mm,
Uh, that's what happens when you go out there in a rainstorm.
mm. Accepting, yeah.
Yeah. So there's no wrong way to look at it. It's
Mhm,
just a matter of are we going to stay, how long? I'm not going to say, because I think we're all going to change in this regard, but at what speed we do is really up to each individual. But how much are we going to stay locked in to what we were told or what
Mhm.
we've been told? Eggs are good for you. No, eggs are bad for you. No, eggs are good for you. No, eggs are bad for you. Fat is good for you. No, fat is bad for you. Fat is good. Carbs are good for you. Carbs are bad for you. You get your energy from carbs. That's where you get your
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
Mm-mm,
no.
mm-mm,
You don't get your energy.
mm-mm,
There's a lot of things out there that we just don't know,
mhm,
and we think we know
mhm,
because there's a consensus around the people
mhm.
that you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
Well, why do you think they're surrounding you?
right. And you create what you believe. So if you believe it
Yeah,
is this, then that's going to be that for you. If you believe that's bad for you, if you believe that's good for you, you're gonna and you get a consensus around that. That's what it's going to be. And then the consensus changes. Now that's no longer good for you. Something else
yeah.
is.
I realize I'm not going to change my thought processes on these overnight, but I realize I'm opening my mind and I'm becoming more just, I don't know, not suspicious, but
Skeptical.
I'm just, yeah, I'm questioning
Mhm,
everything, even things that are so ingrained in me. I to me, if they're true, then they should be able to stand up to some scrutiny. But I realize even if I'm skeptical about something, really skeptical of something, I may not fix it overnight, but
mhm,
I can catch myself. I
mhm,
can catch myself applying that thought
mhm,
to other things and just go, I wonder what it'd be like if I didn't do what I always did in this, or
mhm,
didn't set it up this way. And I
mhm,
just kind of left it a little bit more arbitrary and see what we just start developing.
mhm.
So kind of get rid of all the guide rails, so
Yeah.
to speak, and just say, let's see what happens when it's off the rails.
Mhm.
And then you start to see what you really believe in. You,
Yeah.
it's things start to move and
Mhm.
coalesce, and you know, everything becomes temporary because you're in the process of moving,
Mhm.
moving, and then moving, and then moving.
Plus, you get to see what is more of a natural flow and what is it you're doing. You know what I mean? Like when you can, how much of your life is what you're affecting and doing versus what is naturally coming into um, being in your universe based on your energy. If you can kind of sit back and like check yourself or try different things.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've talked about even like supplements and stuff like that that we believe work, and then it works for us because we believe it works for us. But at
But
some point, we could say, "Okay, I don't need that
but
anymore,"
think about
but we
how
have to
many.
believe it.
Yeah, but think of how many
Oh yeah,
we've
we don't do
kind
anymore.
of transferred out of.
Hmm.
They were, we went to them for a particular reason. We used them for a while
And they
because we thought
worked.
they were working,
Yeah.
and then we migrated to something else, and
Hmm.
then maybe something else and something else. So
Hmm.
we're already doing it.
Hmm.
It's just, are we watching ourselves do it?
Right.
To me, that's more living in the moment. That's
Hmm.
where you really start to really learn yourself, learn
Hmm.
about yourself and what you're really about.
Hmm.
But if you're just reactionary to stuff and not living in the moment, a lot of this will escape your
Hmm.
attention. So
Yeah.
that's what I think. I don't know that you really physically have to try to live in the moment more. I think your higher self just starts getting through to you. I think with all the
Hmm.
energies coming in, I think we're automatically opening up more with, because of all the new energies that are hitting the earth.
Yeah. All the galactic rays and everything that's coming.
The
To the
galactic
planet.
what?
I mean, the sun rays that are coming in.
Oh, I thought you said
Yeah.
grays. I was like,
No, rays, rays, the
yeah.
rays coming in. Yeah.
The next one is to see what you're feeling. To see what you're feeling, you'll have to let go.
Hmm.
So you're
Yeah.
feeling something, and you kind of look around and you don't know why you're feeling that way.
Mhm.
Well, to see it, to see why you're really feeling that way, many of us are, I mean, we're going to have to let go
Mhm.
of what we think it is, or all the things that we just talked about,
Mhm.
um, and just trust the your higher self has a plan for you, and basically wants you to enjoy it, wants
Mhm.
you to make the most of it. And that's why your higher self sends you reminders and obstacles and pain to get your attention.
Mhm. Yeah, because if you're feeling anything of the lesser vibration or, discomfort or whatever, it's something you're doing to interpret it that way. It's the story that you're telling yourself. And if you're holding it too tightly in the emotion, like you're saying, you can't see it. You have to let go and step back from it and question what is it that's there for you. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying let go. Quit questioning so much. Just let go. Just let go and say, uh, to me, with an open mind and letting go, I'm releasing the tension. I'm releasing the
Right.
stress of having to question it and do all this. I still am in questionable, like I'm questioning things,
That's mhm.
but I'm the pressure and the stress and
Mhm.
whatnot are that's what I'm talking about letting go.
Mhm.
When I say let go of that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
all right. The next one is the world isn't happening to you. You're happening to her, with her.
Mhm. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Many people think that they were born, they didn't have any choice in the matter, and life is happening to them, and
Mhm.
they're having to get through it.
Mhm.
And that's what the system wanted you to believe. That was part of the
Mhm.
game, part of the setup, is to get you to believe in all that, and then see what you do.
Well, yeah, because if you're attached to it, it makes you like a puppet, because you can upset, happy, sad, ecstatic, is all attached to um something happening to you. No.
Yep. So now we're, by questioning this and starting to
Mhm.
say, okay, the world isn't happening to me. I'm making it happen. Um, Hopefully, some people start to take on that responsibility, and take it more seriously. Not necessarily seriously, as in you're so serious about it, but I mean,
Mhm.
learn to enjoy it and understand it. Now, you know, I'm I'm more prone to laugh at myself when I trip over something.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, all right, what are you trying to show me? You
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Because I'm, and that attitude, just that attitude change is more conducive to having a future that you enjoy.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think the control system is coming down. It doesn't mean that there isn't a control system in place to make sure that there's a commonality while we migrate through this.
Mhm.
But I think um, the deliberate controlling of you towards someone else's benefit and not yours is either down completely, or just the last vestiges of it are
Mhm.
coming down. So
Yeah, because when you were talking about that, the happening, you're happening to her or with her. I was thinking, what came to me was choice. So I was sitting with that a little bit, and I'm thinking, we have a choice to participate. We're participating, and we have a choice to participate or not participate. And if we don't, like, like you said, pay attention to it and kind of choose or figure out how you want to participate. You're going to do it out of habit. And so with the system is coming down, the controls are coming down. But if we don't go, yeah, I don't want to, I want to have a good day, or I want to have fun today, and shift that some way, then you're going to do it the same way that you've always been doing it out of habit.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
habit in life, and that's part of the control mechanism.
Mhm.
I'll say the darker control mechanism that was in place, was its purpose was to make us feel that way, so we would do these things that we didn't really want to do, but it wanted us to do it so it could control us and steal energy from us or
Mhm.
whatnot. But like I said, I think more of that is most of that is gone.
Mhm.
So now there's still a control mechanism in place, but I feel like it's less pushing you this way or pushing you that way or pushing you that way. If you feel it, that's you.
Mhm. It's really us with it's the network of all the energies on the planet kind of holding us in place. That's that's the feeling. So as we start to make those choices and not do it and move away, then that control mechanism weakens and weakens.
Right.
Yeah.
The next one is your intragalactics are waiting for your call.
Hmm.
We have intergalactics. I'm
Mhm.
talking about intragalactics.
Inside of us.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
So your galactics inside you, whatever form that takes and whatever it looks like, they're waiting for your call. They're waiting for you to ask for their input.
Mhm.
But they know you're still in charge. You're in charge of like making the decisions. Now, were we really in charge in the old system? Not really, because we didn't know. I mean, what was missing is knowledge that you were being manipulated, that you were being pushed and prodded, and your knowledge base was being controlled.
Mhm.
So now, with a lot of that having come down, your intergalactics are, let's just say, coming on board. They've been on board the whole time, but now you can actually start to hear and feel them.
Mhm.
You gotta remember, a lot of the communication that I get is not, I don't hear words. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily hear words. It doesn't necessarily feel foreign. It's actually coming through my my receiver. So it sounds like me. It
Mhm.
feels like me. But when I don't block it because I'm going, oh, that's crazy,
Mhm.
thinking or whatnot, and I just don't don't have any opinion, and I just let it formulate, and it forms into kind of impressions, and then I see what like words it rings up, and then it before I know it, I've got like a sentence or maybe part of a sentence, like these list items.
Mhm.
And if the more I focus on it, the more detail will start to come.
Mhm.
Sometimes it I can't get any more detail, but that's not your intergalactics part. Part of the problem. It's you're blocking it,
Mhm.
some forms of fashion. And it's not wrong. It's just part of the way we operate. We block a lot of things that are coming into us because we're not ready to hear it or
Yeah.
feel it or whatever is associated with it.
Yeah, what also came to me was all of our cells. So our cells are made up of the different pieces and parts
Are
of
you
the
going to get scientific on me?
yeah.
Oh,
So
she's
those
going
are all
scientific.
little universes. I mean, they're all little planets and space. So when you think about it, a cell has consciousness because it knows that cell knows to be a liver cell or to be a heart cell or to be so when you can I mean if you think about it and you really get still, you can hear from that consciousness that's all throughout your cells. I mean, you talked yesterday about hearing your ankle and your knee and your body communicating with you and your guts and I mean we talk about the different brains in your body of your head and your heart and your gut and that to me when you said inner I mean I never really thought about it but the intragalactic inside you that's yeah.
Mind blown. Okay, so I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we trade with each other. I
Right.
mean, if like I said, if I look at this stuff, it looks like crazy thinking, but I just I don't pass judgment on
Mhm.
it anymore. So it gets through, and I relax into it. And now I'm starting to enjoy it,
Mhm.
and almost expecting it whenever I go sit down to make a list of. I feel like I could pretty much do this anytime,
Mhm.
not just daily, but multiple times a day if I
Mhm.
wanted to. And it's me opening myself up to the you know another part of me, another that's out there, but it's not physical.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
not all of me could fit in this physical vessel.
Mhm.
So now I'm accessing it because my receptors are not being clouded anymore by the old system and fear and
Right.
doubt
Right.
and worried about security and all that.
Yeah, I think that's a large part of it, and I think also your curiosity. We being curious or being, asking questions of it, you get wisdom from it. It's like,
Well,
how
I
do
don't
you
know
pull
about
out of
wisdom.
because you've got this ocean of information. It's like, you know, you have to kind of reach and get something. How do
My
you get, out of the kosh or out of the universe? How do you get the information
mine's
into
like a puddle of mud.
the Slosh, slosh. Yeah.
Okay, the next one is this isn't a rescue.
No.
It's a whistle. It's a whistle that the workday is over. Can you let go of work?
Yeah. Wow. Mhm.
We're not being rescued because we've had this conversation
Mhm.
before. The white hats that are here to rescue us, actually, they're not here to rescue us. They're here to say, "Hey, that part of the game's over." Okay, so
Yeah, here's a
it
new game.
and it's not like they're like these parents that are yelling at the kids. Now, you kids come in now. It's
Mm-mm.
not like that. It's like the kids calling out the parents to say, "Hey, are you guys coming back to watch us?"
Yeah. Mhm.
We're not the children. We're
Mm-mm.
children um, in play acting.
Mhm.
That's it,
'Cause we've agreed to be,
because we
yeah.
agreed to be.
Mhm.
So it's time to realize that. Um, let's just say you're playing a video game and you've you've hit level 3 and you've been looking for level 4 and you found it. So you just started making your home in level 3 and bouncing around and you got so used to it, you just built the same
Mhm.
routines and whatever. And then finally, um, there's a new pathway that opens up that leads to, it says level 4,
Mhm.
and you've gotten so used to your routine in level 3, you just bypass it every day. And finally someone comes over and goes, "Hey, what's that over there?" And you're like, "Mm, I don't know. I'm gonna go get some groceries." and and someone says, "Well, don't you think you should check it out?" "No, I'm gonna go get some groceries."
Mhm.
And some people are saying, "Well, I'm gonna go check it out."
Mhm.
So some people will feel compelled to go check it out and see what
Mhm.
happens and realize, well, level 3 that you've been making yourself home is this big, and
Mhm.
level 4 is much bigger than this screen. It's
Mhm.
got many more options and things to explore and be a part of, and
Different rules.
well, I'd say less rules.
Mhm. Yeah.
And able, think of it as a blank canvas, mostly blank canvas for you to start
Mhm.
painting on, or white screen that you can start
Mhm.
doing your own thing on, or
Mhm.
whatever. You get to start showing more of your true innate abilities and capabilities and passions and
Mhm.
whatnot.
Creativity.
But
Mhm.
level 3 doesn't really offer a lot of that. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a little bit here and there if you're a musician or whatnot. But think about it. All of us have these innate creative abilities. Where do you really get to? Yeah, you might have a little hobby here and there, but
Mhm.
it's in relatively speaking, it's a minor thing.
Mhm.
Well, things are getting ready to get flipped where these little tendencies that you've kind of pushed off to the side are going to start coming on because once you
Mhm.
really feel like you're living in, level 4 where no one's going to tell you you don't have time for that. You got to go work.
Mhm.
You've got to go make money and have 2.3 kids. So, um the next one is finding your way home can be enlightening or stressful. Which do you choose?
Mhm.
Whether you know it or not, you heard the whistle. Now, whether or not you're paying
Mhm.
attention to it or not, that's
Right.
strictly up to you. A lot of people it's driving crazy. A lot of people are just confused. Some people they're excited and whatnot, and they don't know what to do with themselves.
Mhm.
So it's really up to you what that look and feels like.
Yeah.
But it's happening to everyone. That's what all the energy is coming in. It's signaling us. Level 3 is we're we're not completely shutting it down, but
Mhm.
we're signifying that level 3 was just kind of like it was like a little tiny, a playground with one swing and one slide. Now we're going into like,
Mhm.
Six Flags,
Mhm.
amusement park, um, times 100,
Mhm.
So it's what do you want this to look like? You're you're finding your way back home. What is home? It's where you resonate.
Mhm.
It's it's the pod that
Mhm.
your is going to transport you away out of this game and back to where you were before all this. But
Mhm.
that could be centuries away. It could be decades away. It could be years away, months. You still are going to be living. So,
Mhm.
what is that trip back to the pod? What does it look like?
Now, do you want it to be surfing? Do you want it to be like you're walking through mud? You have a choice in
Yeah.
how you want to see it. Do you want to see it where you're on rollerblades or flying or yeah.
And it's not just, oh, I choose the fun one, or
Mhm.
the
Right.
one that's more interesting or whatnot. Okay, that's a good place to start. But it's then allowing yourself to do it. It's
Yeah.
one thing we say this often and then we do this.
Mhm.
So it's marrying those up and finding out what your true intent is. Oh,
Mhm.
but I've got to go to work and I've got to go get
Mhm.
groceries. I got to pick up the kids. Okay,
Mhm.
I understood. You've got
Mhm.
kids and whatever. But I'm saying you've got a very creative mind.
Mhm.
And once you start to see more and more doors opening, I think you got to start questioning the narrative that you push on yourself.
Mhm.
Yes, it was pushed from outside, but now if it stays in place, it's because you keep it there.
Mhm.
So now start questioning it so you can start exploring other options.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the next one is getting to know the real you. No one can tell you. You'll feel your way there.
Mhm.
You'll
Mhm.
feel. It's not what you see, it's not what you hear, it's not what you tell someone, it's
Mhm.
what you feel. The feeling of it will guide you.
Mhm.
And then this also kind of points in the other direction about your feelings coming more online, your true feelings.
Mhm.
We've kept a lot of our true feelings kind of hidden in order to stay in the game and or to get
Mhm.
along with your friends circle or your family. A lot of us think about it. Are you really you around your family?
Mhm. Yeah.
The true you. Are you the true you around anyone?
Mhm.
Let's say you had a circle around you of family and friends that would accept you any way you wanted to be.
Mhm.
would you start to explore what, no matter what you do, they would be there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because everybody feels like, I mean, a lot of people feel like if I do this, they're going to leave me or they're going to do this and this. That's what I was talking about earlier. We're holding each other in that,
Yeah,
just by our perceptions of what other people are going to think, those people closest to you. We're holding each other in those frames. So release yourself, but also release the others in your
exactly.
life.
Because that's what I mean. We talked about that. I said, what what is love? Well, 3D love is not the the universal love
Mm-mm.
that it's that's a kind of a brainwashing thing. That's, love is sex and sex is love, and
Or even needing
yeah,
somebody.
it's
Yeah.
needing or it's
Yeah.
a dependency or
Right.
whatever. So the real, what is, if you really, to me, my opinion is if you really love someone, you want the absolute best for them,
Hmm.
whether that includes you or not.
Yeah.
You want the best for them. You want them to reach their potential and enjoy it and be fulfilled.
Hmm.
Um, but for a lot of us, we can't accept that because that
Hmm.
we've got an attachment, and
Yeah.
if they go away, and the fear of them going away keeps you locking them into place.
I mean, that kind of links up earlier to things outside of yourself. It's like that you complete me is like the worst kind of
Oh
love you
no,
can imagine. Because, I mean, if you're,
you can't make
no,
anybody happy.
no,
No one can make you happy.
no,
No one,
no,
except for you. That's it.
yep,
No one else is going to provide happiness in your life.
yep. And
Any thought of that, or any, oh well, someone said, that's all a perception.
hmm.
That's all a way you've configured it around you to, so that your perception sees that.
Hmm. Yep,
But in all honesty, it's your happiness is up to you.
yep.
And that's what I think is starting to come online, is the knowledge about that. What you do with it,
Hmm.
I mean, because I don't believe the system basically tells you what you're going to do, and like fate, like
Hmm.
you're destined just to do this, this, and this. No, I think you
Hmm.
came here for a mission
Hmm.
to perform, but that's not all. You're also exploring. The
Hmm.
whole thing about this reality is exploration,
Yep.
exploration of the reality. Wow, you pick up these treasures in the treasure hunt.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
it's a combination of those things. Without direction, you know, what
Hmm.
are we? Especially when we don't even know who we are.
Hmm.
So direction provides a little bit of about who we are.
Yep.
That the kind of mission you have, to me, is very telling about who you were, or who you thought you wanted to be when
Hmm.
you put the mission together. Like, okay, gonna need these characteristics, going to need to have this kind of train of thought, going to be kind of made up this way with these little idiosyncrasies and everything. It's, you built your own profile.
Hmm.
And if you're following it, then you're probably pretty happy.
Hmm.
If you're not following it, you're probably not too happy.
Right. Yeah, you're unsettled or you're frustrated or sad or depressed or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'm beginning to see the things that we were just having a conversation earlier about what lights your fire. What is it that really you just love?
Come on, baby,
And it'll tell
come
you.
on, baby,
It'll tell you about.
come on,
All
baby.
right, I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, it'll tell you about yourself and what a bit about what your mission is. And you could have had this feeling from childhood, but you don't recognize it until you look back and you go, well, yeah, every time I have this kind of thing over all these years, I like that. That's a good feeling. Well, then sit with that and it'll kind of help inform your mission a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should be questioning yourself at least about. I mean, I growing up, and this is just an example. Growing up, um, for whatever reason, I did not like cantaloupe. My brother did. My brother, I mean, he would eat it anytime it was available. I just did not like cantaloupe. There are plenty of other fruits I like, but I just did not like cantaloupe. I don't know when it changed. I think I was in my, I want to say, I was probably near 30,
Mhm.
some 30, 32, something like that. And I don't even remember the set of circumstances, but there was a bunch of fruit, the other melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, and some, other
Mhm.
stuff there. And I got, I just did a scoop and it was all cut up and I got it in there. And I wasn't really paying attention. I think, and I got a piece of watermelon. I love watermelon. I got a piece of honeydew and I love honeydew and everything. And then I don't think I was looking, and I think I put a piece of cantaloupe in my mouth, and I bit into it and go, that's pretty good. And then I didn't even know what it was. And
Mhm.
then I'm going, what did I just eat?
Mhm.
So I kind of cleared it through, and so I'm like, that wasn't honeydew, that wasn't whatever. There just wasn't a lot of cantaloupe, and I
Mhm.
found another. I was like, the only thing I could see was cantaloupe. I go, so I got the another piece of cantaloupe, and hmm, that's pretty good. So
Mhm.
what changed? Why did seriously? I mean, anytime any got people tried to get me to eat cantaloupe, I'm like, no, no, I don't want any. No.
Mhm.
My brother would say, why don't you like cantaloupe?
Mhm.
And I couldn't explain it. I just didn't like cantaloupe.
Mhm.
Like I remember saying there were particular foods that I just would say, no, I don't want it. And I never ate it,
Mhm.
like Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, I was the way
I
same way,
never
Brussels
had any
sprouts.
growing up. It wasn't until just recently we started steaming Brussels sprouts, and
Oh,
I love them.
love them. Yeah. And I used to not like them unless I were smothered in butter, when I was younger, that's the only way I could eat them, and I love them now, the
Yeah.
steam, just
But if I
they're
had
like
never
candy.
accidentally tried cantaloupe, I mean I'd be missing out on cantaloupe.
Mhm.
So I think that's symbolic of other things that for whatever reason that was being pushed on us
We didn't like it or
that
yeah.
we like this or we don't like that or whatnot.
Mhm.
Now I think as that transmission is being interrupted because it was our transmission, but it was hijacked
Mhm.
and distorted. Now that it's coming through clear, we should go, I'm going to question that I don't like that
Mhm.
anymore. Like when you go find yourself doing something like someone offers up cantaloupe and you're like, no, I don't want it. That hopefully will trigger that you question, go, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Let me just try. What's it going to hurt if you just try a piece? Kind
Yeah.
of thing.
That's like, for me, what's coming through is like, art, and, people say, "Well, I'm not very creative," or "I can't paint," or I'd say try it. You may be surprised. I mean, the only reason right now that we can't do it is because we're telling ourselves we
Yeah.
can't do it. And it probably came from some programming when you were 5 years old and you painted something and somebody didn't like it, and or something like that. And you've told yourself all your life, "Well, I can't do that. I can't do that." Give it a try. You might the first time maybe it won't look that great, but you can. But the more you kind of like practice it, I can do this. You will do it. You will do those things.
Yeah, except for I'm not going to, I can't do that with wallpaper. I cannot
Well,
do
you probably
wallpaper.
don't want to do wallpaper. That's the thing. You could do wallpaper, but you
I-
don't want to do
I'll
wallpaper.
do windows, but I won't do wallpaper. So just so you know. All right, the last one I have is minimizing you to maximize your free time. We often define ourselves by the things we're associated with.
The activities
All
and
the
yeah.
activities, your kids' activities,
Mhm.
your adult activities that you do with other adults, then all the communal type activities. All these activities
Yeah.
were, they may be, some of them may be of still resonance with you that
Mhm.
you would choose even if you didn't weren't in a controlled environment. Um, but I'll bet you there's some stuff in there that you just been doing because not doing it would change the definition of you that
Mhm.
you're not ready to see or feel that yet.
Mhm.
But that's what's coming, is minimizing those things that are around you so that you can free up yourself to find out what you're really about now with the control system
Mhm.
kind of down or
Yeah.
mostly down.
Yeah, because for me, it's paying attention to when you're doing it, what do you feel? Do you feel like it's something you're checking off the box, checking off the list, or
Yep,
is it
I'm
something
checking it off the box.
that's energizing you and you're excited and kind of pay attention because now that the the veils are thinner, your true energy that you're exchanging is much more apparent. So, are you expending energy to go do something that you're also not receiving energy from? Or, what is it that's motivating you to do that? And you can feel it. You'll think, oh, I used to love to do this. And you'll go do it and you'll be like, why did I used to love to do that? Because it's it's not that much fun, or you come home and you go, well, okay. Pay attention to that and don't make yourself wrong if you don't want to do it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's symbolic,
Mhm.
but the way I kind of see things is, uh, we were in phase one. Maybe it's phase 500. I don't know, but we're closing out that phase. It's
Mhm.
not closed out yet, but a lot of the administrators and whatnot are
Mhm.
being brought down and whatever. And that phase is closing out. And the
Mhm.
new phase, now we had a role, maybe even multiple roles to play in there
Mhm.
for whatever reasons. Those roles are now changing.
Mhm.
You're actually, you may even end them, or that role may morph into a bigger role or a smaller role in this new phase. But what I see is most of us are ending the roles we played over here, and now we're going to play a completely different role over here.
Mhm.
Yeah, there might be qualities. I think if you go back and look at a lot of things you've either done work on or had hobbies in, certain things resonated with you,
Mhm.
certain qualities about um, what you were involved in
Mhm.
always attracted to you.
Yeah.
And you may find some of those same qualities still calling to you on
Mhm.
this side, but you're going to also find other qualities that are coming online that never spoke to you before,
Mhm.
and some that were calling on you no longer calling on you. So it's going to change your whole palette,
Yeah.
and how it changes is really up to you. I mean, or I should say, how comforting it is going to depend on how attached you were to the old role and all these things. The more comforting is going to be being able to detach yourself from that and be able
Mhm.
to move over and say, okay, I'm ready for the next role.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's kind of links back to one of the ones earlier, which is you don't hold on to things so tightly. So the identity that you have and what you're doing and stuff like that, letting go of that allows you to move over to the other role easier. Are you going to hang on? What's the journey going to be like? Are you going to have to pry your fingers off of it in order to go, or are you going to just release it and
Yeah, you got to think of it like a Hollywood actor. Um, you just you did a movie and you played
go?
this role, and now that's all done. Now
Hmm.
you're doing a new movie and
Yeah.
you've got a completely different role.
Mhm.
It's going to stretch you more because this is a whole new phase, and let's just say there are many more options. Before there wasn't. It's kind of like, all right, do you want to be slave one, slave two, or slave level three? It,
Mhm.
you didn't really have a whole lot of choice. I mean, we gave them the power to enslave us. It's
Mhm.
not like they had to steal all this stuff or
Mhm.
whatnot. Excuse me. We gave them. It's like you go into an amusement park that you're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
and they own it, and they said you have to abide by all our rules and whatever, and you say, okay, here's all my power. You tell me what I can do,
Mhm.
and that's what we did because we wanted to be a part of that
Mhm.
reality. and
Mhm.
experience it.
Yeah.
But now that amusement park is being closed down,
Mhm.
sunsetted, and now we're moving in a much grander amusement park with, let's just say, the administrators of that are include you.
Mhm.
Whereas before, it included you, but only because they were using your power of manifestation. So they fed you
Mm. Enough.
lies and whatnot to get you to buy in so that you would give up that power.
Mhm.
But over here, it's going to be in this new phase. It's going to be you're part of management. You have a say. It's an employee-owned company, and
Mhm.
you if you see something going on or feel something going on that doesn't feel right to you, you have the
Mhm.
power and ability to change it and bring it to other people's attention
Mhm.
and see what they think if they want to get involved. Because the more sovereign people, which I think sovereignty is coming online more and more, um, they have a right. No more ultimatums. You know,
Yeah.
with you follow you believe what I believe, or you don't love me.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the ultimatum thing was all the way around, and there's all facets of life.
Yeah. So what do a lot of people do? They played the game with their spouse or friends or whatnot, and
Mhm.
led them to believe that they thought like them or wanted
Mhm.
the same things. Well, meanwhile, they in kind of like a secret misery, they held on to their own beliefs and whatnot. They just didn't share them, and
Mhm.
that's entrapment. You're entrapped and you're
Mhm.
enslaved because you can't be the real you.
Mhm.
Well, now I think the role coming on is going to be more um, in line with your real capabilities, your true wishes and wants.
Yeah. That's so sweet.
So,
Awesome.
alrighty.
Awesome. Anything else? No.
No, no.
No. Well, till next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace.